A beautifully shiny and well-designed cover for Alice Feeney's Beautiful Ugly, published by Macmillan. And this is a twisty mystery that is set on a remote Scottish island on the west coast of Scotland. It's assumed to be, or at least I'm assuming, it's a Hebridean island because there is mention of the water around the Hebrides. And it is incredibly remote, and that you have to keep in mind. You know, the author is really good at getting a textured backdrop, you know, with the wind blowing, the trees rustling, the moaning winds, and, you know, that slightly gothic, surreal feel to a great setting. The island measures 6 miles by 5 miles, so in fact it's really, really small. And as we come to discover, there are only 25 inhabitants who live on it full time. Now, tourists aren't really allowed onto it, and if they are, then there are a lot of restrictions for them, and it's generally in the summer months. So down south, Grady Green is an author, and he is waiting to hear if he's going to get into the new York Times Bestseller List. Meanwhile, his wife, Abby, is on her way to see him, but they are on the phone call. He's waiting. He can't wait for her to get there, to be by his side, to hear the news from Kitty, you know, his publisher, and she's on her way home in the car, and then she rings up and says, but there's a body in the road and I'm going to have to stop. And he says, no, don't stop. And he then eventually goes to find her car and discovers she is missing. She doesn't reappear. And his life falls apart. Now, Kitty, who is also godmother to Abby, suggests that he takes her cabin, which is on this remote island, so he can really get into the swing of writing again. You know, he's become impecunious, nothing is going his way, and he needs some time to focus. So he arrives with his dog at the cabin, and life feels okay, but there's a big but coming. He soon makes a very odd discovery, and as he's going about his daily routines, he begins to understand there is something a little bit strange about this island. You know, there is a butcher, a fully stocked butcher for 25 people. Some of the people seem to wear a very similar, if not the same ring, and he begins to feel quite unsettled. Meanwhile, he has made a discovery, and this discovery changes the trajectory of his life. Now, this is a book I have seen a lot on social media over the last 2 months, and I think it will be one of the big reads of 2025 because it is really well put together. It's very, very readable. It's curious in many ways. And I think what the author has done with the setting is quite amazing because you are there in the dark woods and the funny noises and the kind of odd things happening. So I think if you're looking for something just a little bit different and something that will be quite gripping, then Alice Feeney's Beautiful Ugly.